This week, a letter signed by most major news organizations, including the Washington Post, was sent to White House Press Secretary Jay Carney, protesting the lack of access to the administration, specifically the limitations placed on photo and video journalists covering the president. The letter cited a few examples, including this sit-down with human rights activist Malala Yousafzai, a meeting with a delegation from China, and a talk with Senators John McCain and Lindsey Graham. But the White House has its own photographer and video staff and puts out thousands of images a year on Flickr. So, what's the big deal?
Yes, we can absolutely use those images. Anybody can use those images, but they're not journalistic images. They're taken by people who are employed by the president. A news photo is taken by a photojournalist employed by a news organization, like the Washington Post, like the New York Times, like CBS News. That's independent media, and independent media is obviously the fourth estate and is needed to tell unbiased, truthful coverage of what's happening with our lawmakers in our halls of power.
We think by allowing only White House staff photography to be released to commemorate and memorialize an event, rather than independent photography, is another step down a slope of the White House being able to control well beyond independent media the message and the quote-unquote news of that day. That's not what the First Amendment has in mind. It's not what the founders had in mind. I'm making this sound very grand, but in many ways it is. This is about an independent press and our ability to have access to this president.